Welcome back. The coronavirus pandemic has created a lot of different challenges for Iowans. Questions about how to pay your bills, whether you should go back to work, and just how to get help. We are here with some help to get you answers tonight. Joining us is Nick Smithberg with Iowa Legal Aid. And Nick, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Iowa Legal Aid is providing that hotline for Iowans to call in with legal questions. And what have you seen as some of the top concerns, maybe the #1 concern that a lot of Iowans have been calling you about?
Well, we certainly received a high volume of calls around housing issues and public benefits, but by far the biggest topic that we're getting questions on is employment, and specifically the issue of what happens when folks are getting called back to work and they might not feel safe doing so.
Yeah, I know. And what is the answer to that question? I know a lot of times it just depends. It kind of depends on what the employer is doing, and maybe if the employer is really making a wholehearted effort to make that a safe work environment. Is that kind of the big deciding factor?
That absolutely is. I mean, it's a combination of the circumstances of the employee and the employer. There are certain specific grounds related to the pandemic that would excuse someone coming back, for example, if they've been tested positive or if they're in one of the recognized high-risk categories. But there's an obligation on the part of the employer to provide a safe workplace. And what that means in a specific context is very fact-specific, as you said.
Right. And that's the kind of thing where there's not going to be like a lot of precedent about it. It's sort of to be case by case. Maybe even some people are going to have to sue their employers to kind of like see how judges feel about that, right?
That's absolutely right. These are unprecedented times, and we're working within a system and a set of rules that really were not designed for a pandemic. One thing I would strongly advise people to do is, if they're able to consult with a lawyer, and certainly one source you could consult with is the hotline.
Okay. Housing, of course, we have people who can't pay their rent. They're worried about being evicted. The governor did put a halt to evictions, but we don't know if that's going to be extended. If people are worried about being evicted for rent that they can't pay, what do you say to those folks when they call?
Well, they can certainly contact us. This is an area of great uncertainty. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with the courts. Certainly discussions are ongoing about some safeguards that might still be in place after the moratorium expires. But the sad reality is we expect to see really substantial uptick in eviction cases, mostly on non-payment cases, because so many people have become recently unemployed. And we are getting ready to try and take that onslaught as best we can, because it's going to be a very challenging time. There, in addition to the moratorium expiring, there are hundreds of cases that have been previously adjourned. So, and then the June rent is coming due. So we're really looking at kind of a perfect storm of new eviction cases.
All right. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see going forward. Housing and jobs and money really going to challenge a lot of the people that typically are in need of your services. Nick Smithberg with Iowa Legal Aid, we really appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me.